What's up, guys? So God has been working on completing this word, and he just gave me the full word. And as you can see, the title of this video is "The Bread is Coming." And listen to how good God is and how he gave me this word. So I watched a sermon probably like a week ago or something, and this pastor was a guest speaker at this church, and he kept saying that the bread is coming. And this means like the blessing is coming, the bread is coming, the money is coming, the business is coming, your spouse is coming, the bread is coming. And so that kind of like stuck into my spirit, and I just kept saying that. And I told my friend about this sermon, and we made it into like an inside joke. Whenever we would be down about something or feeling discouraged, we would always uplift the other and say, "Don't worry, the bread is coming." And so because we put that into our spirit, God used that very same saying, and everywhere we would go, this happened on multiple occasions, we would go somewhere and someone would hand us bread out of nowhere. Like it'd be like a sample at a restaurant. They're like, "Oh, do you want to try this bread? Oh, we have extra bread. Do you want extra bread? Do you want more bread?" And then this one time we went to this pizza restaurant, and there was a whole row of just like shelves of bread behind us, but it wasn't even a part of the restaurant. It was like in the middle of this area, because it was like an outdoor mall-y like restaurant type of thing, and there was just like this whole shelf just of bread. And so it was a joke because my friend handed it to me, and he's like, "Look, the bread is coming." And then he was reading his niece, like it was a child book, and her mom had gotten her this book, and so he was reading her this book, and he opens it up and he sends it to me, and it's literally a picture. Well, it's like an illustrated picture in a child's book, but it's literally Jesus handing pieces of bread, like loaves of bread from a basket. And he's like, "Look, the bread is coming." And then on that same photo was fish. And it reminded me of in the Bible when Jesus wanted to bless the 5,000 people, and he asked the disciples to go find food to feed all these people. And when the disciples went to that little boy who had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and he used that to bless 5,000 people. He used that little kid's food as a miracle to bless others. And so that, when I heard that sermon, it kind of resonated with me, and I was like, the bread is coming. And then I kept seeing verses about fruit. So then that saying, instead of the bread is coming, it was like the fruit is coming. So the bread is coming is like the blessing is coming, but you're also bearing fruit. So not only is the bread coming, but it's also a part of bearing fruit. So the fruit is coming. So then the next day, we came up with this inside joke. We're like, okay, the fruit's coming. And then the next day, in the Bible app, this was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, the verse of the day on the Bible app was John 15, 4-5 or something, where he talks about, "If you abide in me and remain in me, then you will bear good fruit." Like Jesus is the vine and we are the branches. And as long as we stay connected to him and remain in him and he in us, then we will bear good fruit. So it was funny how we made that joke about the fruit is coming. And then the next day was that entire verse on the Bible app about bearing fruit. And then I'm a part of this like daily reading Bible plan, and I'm like 7 months into this Bible plan, so I have 5 months left. And the next day, that same night, the verse aligned up with that same exact verse on the Bible app. And I was like, the fruit is coming. So not only is the bread coming, the fruit is coming. Then there has to be 3s. So then the next day, me and my friend go and watch the sunset. We have like this dock that we go to, and so where I live, it's like a small hometown, and we've named places where God has spoken to us, and we've nicknamed them different places. So for example, we have this little lake that we always walk my dog around, and every single time we go to this lake, a miracle happens. Like God will have answered a prayer. He healed my uncle of cancer. He had stage 4 lymphoma cancer, and every single time I would go to this miracle pond and say a prayer and ask God to speak to me. I was fasting for weeks on this, and God answered my prayer at miracle ponds. Like my aunt called me while I was at this miracle pond, and she was like, his cat scans came back clear. Like that's impossible. Like he was going in to get treated, and then his cat scans came back clear. And so we nicknamed this little walk area Miracle Pond. And then we have another area that we go to where we see this like beautiful sunset every single time we go. The sun isn't even directed towards us. The sun sets on the other side of where we go to watch the sunset. But every single time we go, it's like God surprises us, and the entire sky is beautiful. Like he paints it. It's like he literally like paints it with a paintbrush, and it's so pink and beautiful and orange. So we named that God's Glory, because every single time we go to the dock, which we nicknamed God's Glory, we see God's glory in the sky. And so as we're there watching the sunset, this happened like 2 days ago, we see this lady come on the dock, and she's fishing, and she's by herself. And throughout the months that we've been going to this dock named God's Glory, we've seen so many people, and I'm talking about like, so every single time we go there, we always see someone trying to fish, and we've never seen anyone actually catch a fish. Like one time we were sitting on the dock, we were having a picnic, and these two boys, like they were like these two older brothers, and they were on the dock for, I'm not even kidding, like 3 hours trying to catch fish. And they had all kinds of like bait, and they did not catch a single thing. And then we've seen so many other people, we just haven't seen anyone catch a fish. And so this one lady is literally by herself, and we're watching her, and the sun is like beautiful, like the sunset's beautiful. And I was like, I really want to see someone catch a fish. And I kid you not, the first time that she throws out her line, she caught a fish, like the very, very, very first time. And then she takes the fish off the hook, gives it a kiss, and throws it back into the lake. And I was like, wow, that was like amazing. And then we're just sitting there watching the sun go down. And she literally goes, oh, and she catches another. It's literally the second time. Like there hasn't even been one miss in between the first time that she caught the fish. This literally, as soon as she threw out her line, she caught another fish, like the second time in a row. And I was like, okay, she is literally one with nature. Like this lady is, I've never seen anyone, for the amount of times that I've lived here, catch a fish on that dock. And now she caught 2 in a row. And so my friend, he made like the funniest Christian inside joke. He was like, should I go ask her if she wants to be fisher of men? Because she was so good at catching fish. And I was like, that'd be so funny. Go up to her. And so he said, he was like, oh, are you going to catch your third? And she was like, yeah, God would love that. And she's like, I'm doing this for God. And I was like, wow, was she an angel? Because now it was God telling us the fish is coming. I know that God always works in 3. So that was like the third thing that was missing. And then when we went to go back and look at the photo that he had sent me of reading his niece this book, and in the same picture, it's literally, I didn't even realize this the first time I looked at it, but it's literally a basket of fish and bread. And I was like, okay, the bread is coming, the fruit is coming, and the fish is coming, you guys. So then, if that wasn't crazy enough, okay, and I know that God gives me, like he keeps unfolding parts of the word that I'm supposed to share with you guys, and then he completed it today. And so this morning, I didn't go to church this morning, and I haven't skipped a day in church in so long, but I've just been so tired. So this morning I slept in, and I was like, okay, well, I have to watch a sermon online or something. And there was 10 minutes left of this one sermon that I clicked on. It was already on my homepage. It was just playing already. And I was like, okay, I'll just watch this one. I kid you not, you guys. I literally click on it, and the pastor saying the bread is coming. A completely different pastor, a completely different sermon from when I watched the pastor talking about the bread is coming a week ago. Completely different pastor. And he's like, the bread is coming. And then everyone in the live chat comments is just talking about the bread is coming, the bread is coming. And I'm like, all right, the bread is coming. And so he explained it so good in the message when he was talking about the bread is coming. And I want to share it with you guys because I know that this can touch some of you and speak right to you. And remember, guys, take everything back to God, because this word isn't always for everyone. Words are not always for everyone. So make sure that you go to God, you confirm this with him, and make sure that this word is for you. So I'm watching this sermon, and he's like, I don't know what this looks like for you. Maybe you have a broken marriage. Maybe you have a broken business. Maybe you have a broken bank account, whether that's an empty bank account or a failing business or a broken marriage. He's like, it might look broken. It might look broken. But in order for Jesus to multiply things, he has to break it first. Because when Jesus fed the 5,000 people, he didn't just hand them loaves of bread. He had to break each part of the bread, and it multiplied. And they still had 12 baskets full of leftover broken bread. So whatever your situation looks like right now, God's going to use that and he's going to multiply it. Because nothing is too impossible or too big for God. No problem is too big for God. And so God's going to use your mess, your brokenness, whatever situation that you're facing that might seem broken, that might seem impossible, that might seem like it's too big for God to fix, or it's too far out for God to fix. It's not, because God's going to take that same thing and he's going to multiply it. He's going to multiply it, just like he multiplied the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish. That's all they had to work with. God multiplied it and they still had leftovers. God is going to give you more than what you asked for, more than what you need. And he says in his word in Philippians 4:16 that God will supply all of your needs, because he will. He's a good God, and he's going to do more than you can ask, think, hope, or imagine. Ephesians 3:20, you guys. And so God is telling you to use what you have. Whatever God gave you in this season to steward, whatever he gave you, it doesn't matter if you have 30 Instagram followers. It doesn't matter if you have 50 YouTube subscribers. It doesn't matter if you only have $200 in your bank account. Use what you have and steward with what you have, because if God can trust you with a little, he will give you more. If he can trust you with a little, he will trust you with more. So whatever your situation looks like, just know, you guys, God needed me to tell you this message, that the bread is coming. The work that you're putting in, the fruit is coming. You will bear fruit. Just keep working with what you have and God will multiply it. God will multiply it, and he will give you more than what you have, more than what you have been working with. So that word is for somebody, because that touched me in my spirit, and that word was for me. And I know if God's doing it for me and speaking to me in that way, then he's doing it for you guys and doing it for others. And so I hope that this word was a blessing to you guys. I hope that some of you I just touched on exactly what you needed into your situation. I don't know what your situation is, but just know that God is going to use the brokenness and he's going to multiply it. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I love you guys.